The opportunity to be with you. I apologize. I wasn't here this morning. I had a faculty meeting for my department, and so that was a lot of fun. And you gave me a very pleasant reason to leave a bit early. I really want to talk about four broad programs, two of which Anita mentioned, and then kind of put on my economic development role hat. Previous to being in cooperative extension, I served in our legislature, and before that, I was director of economic development for a couple of cities, South Tucson and Tucson, and got to know the mechanisms of finance and economic development quite well, even combining SBA with revolving loan funds and understanding kind of how we can do those things is really sometimes the difference between surviving and not surviving. Working capital is one of the most important things, so we don't have all our money in land. So most of these programs have a financial application as well. I'll start talking, and I know that Dia and Debunker, and I see Ed is on here as well. But really, when it comes to some of the technical things, like I was, part of the listening to the conversation with Russ about which irrigation system is good. We have an abundance of expertise in the cooperative extension, and part of my job is to steer you towards that. So to connect you with a DIA, to connect you with a debunker, to really talk about soil, to talk about right irrigation systems, and then I can help you with a cost analysis of, okay, what is your 20-year outlay? I'm putting in a very expensive center pivot versus drip versus flood. The water grant that we have started with a $30 million ARPA grant, Inflation Reduction Act from Governor Ducey. And then it was so successful that a couple of sessions ago, the legislature put in 15 million and the private sector has put in 19 of their own money. And Dia and Debunker and a team of other scientists really look at every application. And our mandate from the state is to work with farmers of any size or irrigated pasture for ranchers to convert flood to a more efficient form. Now, I actually don't disparage flood, particularly if you have good tailwater capture or you're glacier leveled. Some of these systems you may want to stick with flood or use flood for germination, but the systems that have gone in have been very successful in terms of really paying attention to the soil and making sure your salinity doesn't go up. You can use flood with this program to flush in between seasons if you need to push those salts down. But also a lot of times we do use too much water, and with that we use too much fertilizer. And so sometimes using a pivot or using a sprinkler or drip system can get a more precise measurement and just use less inputs that you need, particularly after that germination. An example, we had a dairy that is double cropping corn down in Pinal County, and last year at this time they were at 4.3 acre feet, and now they are at 1.9 acre feet. When you multiply that by about 3,000 acres, that's a pretty big savings. But their corn looks good and their crop looks good. The way that the program, the dynamics work, and we've closed the applications now, but we're hoping to reopen it as soon as we sort through some issues with our making sure all the dust is settled with the first grant batch of 110 farms that have gone out. And we have legislative members that want to fund it. And we're talking to NRCS about funding it. But if you are flood irrigating and you have flood irrigated 3 of the past 5 years, we will pay you, reimburse you, but basically advance the money, 1,500 an acre to change to another more efficient form of irrigation. That could be drip, that could be center pivot. You would work with your vendors and with our team to kind of pick the right one. And that is up to 666 acres or $1 million. And so that is a very good way to put in some very efficient, like a center pivot type system that is very effective in the crops. If you don't qualify for whatever reason, I will, in my economic development role, I'll help you get across the finish line with NRCS or FSA or some of these other grants. A good one, we had a dairy that had a very untested technology. Dia spent months really studying it with Debunker, and we decided not to fund it in our grant. But I turned around and helped them get an EQIP grant. And so they were able to put that system in with an NRCS EQIP grant. So we will help you gain access to financing. That's the most important thing. The other program is the Ag Apprenticeship Program. The legislature funded us $2 million to do it. This is basically, we can reimburse you up to $10,000 to have a person that is part of your farm, part of your ranch, and learning from you. It's a very good program. It can be anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks. And we, again, advance that money to help you kind of decide, try before you buy, if you want a person on your farm or to teach them something about farming. The other benefit of that, because I used to do tax credits like work opportunity tax credit, if this person is eligible, I want to work with you to see if you can get a tax credit. So for example, a work opportunity tax credit, if you hire someone, you get 40% of the first 6,000 in wages with a 1-year carryback, 10-year carry forward. It's a very good credit, not even a deduction, very good tax credit. So we want to really maximize everything we can to help you. A couple other really quick programs. One is we have a Southwest Food Systems grant that we're just getting off the ground with local Arizona First. The main thing we're trying to do with small farmers and producers is help on the marketing side and on the supply side. So over in Yavapai County, I've been in conversations with the USDA of, does the economics work to get our olive growers to buy an olive press for the valley? And if those numbers work, USDA Community Development wants to come in and try and help do that. So the real goal of this is, can we help you on that supply chain to add value to your product? Or can we help you market or get access to closer markets doing that? So we're moving your product from a commodity to more of a marketable item. Another thing that is very important is I also have the opportunity. I'm the interim director of our Law and Policy Center, which was created to help naturally resource users. One thing that we have a water adjudication clinic. And basically, if you have an issue with water, a legal issue, we have lawyers and law students that can help you understand that dynamic and help you prepare that presentation. Basically, you need to be a small farmer to do this, but we can help answer questions that Arizona Department of Water Quality, ADWR resources will not answer. We can help you to figure out where your diversion points are and what those water rights are. And we can even help you prepare if you do have to have any sort of water adjudication. In fact, we're very proud. We have, and she won her case for the first time in state history. The Arizona State Bar allowed one of our students to argue the case all the way in front of Superior Court and won the case. And so we're really training law students to help you with water adjudication and then also other adjudication issues, land. In addition, we have a center side where we take on some of the big issues. One thing that the Law and Policy Center set up under the previous director, and I inherited it, but we set up an MOU, and it was based on the Tonto, the reading the range that Jim Sprinkle had put in, but it basically worked with our range and livestock team for permittees with the Forest Service to really make sure, if the Forest Service says that you can only have this number of cattle on here, that we have the university steps in and does a scientifically accurate measurement of what the capacity of that land is. And really, and what we found is in all of the cases, because this is based solidly on science, the Forest Service has gone with our numbers for the permittee, and usually that means that they allow a little bit more head of cattle on that land, because if you measure a pre-annual or an annual in a different way, it's all based in science, but it's really advocating and making sure that our ranchers have the appropriate support that they need. With that, I could go on forever, but I really just wanted to kind of give you a synopsis of these programs. The main thing is, if we can help you with the economics, if I can help you with the economics of your ranch, or even helping develop a business plan. I've done this actually for hundreds of businesses throughout my career. I want to do that. If in my leadership role with an extension, I can be that conduit, or Anita can be that conduit, to have someone like Dia talk about irrigation, or Debunker talk about soil, I want to do that as well. The main thing is, we're here to serve you with programs, knowledge, and science. With that, I just want to say thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm happy to be there if you have any specific questions you want to ask me after this presentation or after the seminar.
Thanks, Ethan, so much. I really appreciate that.